Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Jen, the Intuitive Phoenix, here to do a pop-up healing. I'm going to be heading out shortly, and I didn't know what to do with myself. So I decided it's been a bit since I've gotten on to do a pop-up healing. So that's what I'm here for. So if you're seeing this either live or as a recording, if you've got a question, something you're stuck on, an area that's painful or uncomfortable, or maybe you're going through a transition, feeling emotional, this would be a perfect opportunity to ask your questions and get some answers. If you haven't done this before, of course, and you're joining, say hello. Let me know you're here, and let me know where you're connecting from, because I can't always see who's on and not, and don't know well, and I want to get to know you. So let me know that you're all here. And when it comes to asking questions, you can ask me directly. It can be about how this works. It can be something about the work. It can be something about you personally or professionally, maybe business or career. I don't need a lot of information typically. Of course, if you ask a question and I need more, I'll ask more. But I don't need lots of story. So feel free to jump on in and start asking. I know we're right for, at least locally, we're right around the time that people are getting off of work and heading home, maybe some people heading or sitting down to dinner. So this might not be the best time to pop up, but I never know. And I thought, why the heck not? All right. Not seeing too much go on here, but it's only been a couple of minutes. Now, if you're watching at a later time, then feel free to post questions at that time too, because I will come back and respond. And if not directly there, depending on what it is, then I'll do it at my next pop-up live. So again, if you are joining in and you've got a question, say hello, say where you're calling from. Listen to me, calling from, connecting in from, and post your question, because I would love to share some information with you. Now, where and how people work with me and why they might want to work with me can vary greatly. It can be anything from, you might be experiencing physical pain. You know, I've had people come to me with headaches or neck pain, foot pain. For some reason, that can be a popular one at times. Ankle pain. It can be you're just feeling really emotional and kind of down and can't seem to get out of your own way. That's a big one. You are working and you're doing things to taking care of yourself, and yet you're still feeling overwhelmed and stressed, and know that somehow it's tied to you and what you're doing is just not working. Another reason sometimes people work with me is because they've tried everything else, and all the other things that they've tried, well, are not working. Or maybe they're getting a little bit of progress or a little bit of change, but not what they're really looking for. And that's one of the benefits, or at least that's one of the benefits that I see and that I experience in the way that I work, is because I'm not deciding what to discuss in a session or what the focus is. Clients bring what they feel like the focus is or what results that they're looking for, and based on that, my intuition and guidance, that's the best way to describe it. I sometimes refer to it as psychic guidance, but it's guidance that is bigger than myself. It comes from outside myself, and it is my belief that it comes from a higher power. And as I receive that information, I share it with people. Especially when I first started doing this, I would record my sessions, not just for the client if the client wanted access to it, but because I sometimes wanted access to it. Because this information was coming through me, or is coming through me, and I was new to it, it was like I didn't have enough space, like enough bandwidth, you could say, that I could process my own thoughts as a person, as a human being, and the information that was coming through. So sometimes when I was first like hearing the information is literally when it was coming out of my mouth. And that was always fascinating because I would recognize that what I was saying was awesome. And often the client that I was talking to was like, can you repeat that again? Because that was like so good. And a lot of times I'd say, honestly, I can't, because it wasn't coming from my mind. So I couldn't remember it. It was coming again through me. So now that I've been doing it longer, it is something that I am more aware of what I'm saying, and not just as I'm saying it, that I can more consistently pull in my thoughts and awareness at the same time as I might be receiving and sharing information. Hey, Cal. Good to see you. So that's a little bit about how I go about doing things, and where information comes, and why I think it's such a benefit to work with somebody like myself, because it's not do this affirmation. Now, I might recommend an affirmation because part of a session will, I would say 95, 98% of the time, include what I refer to as recommendations or prescriptions. Like if you went to a doctor, it might be a prescription. And those recommendations are very specific to you. So it might be, do this affirmation, but the affirmation is chosen specifically for you, where you are at that point and what you're wanting to achieve. And it's also worded in such a way that it's for you, not do affirmations. Same thing, like sometimes journaling. I have some clients that journaling is like literally they start writing and information starts flowing for them. They can release what's not, well, the baggage, the stuff, the things that they've been dragging around, and they can release that through their writing, or at least discover how they can release it through their writing, or what is ready to be released. A lot of times too, clarity will come through with journaling. But with that, the journaling recommendations are also very specific often for people. It's not just go journaling. It's journal on these topics or answer this question over this many days. So it's tweaked and is more specific to who the person is in that session. And not, because I don't know about you, when I first really started consciously and intentionally down this path, I would often use affirmations or intentions or things that I was reading and hearing about and wondering, why is this not working? Because there was more to it. Or it was because those that I was choosing to use was not where I was at or where I wanted to go. And I didn't know that at the time. Sometimes too, the recommendations that come through for people might be go out in the yard, go out in the woods, and jump up and down and scream and yell and get out a whole bunch of anger. Or I'm trying to think of some of the others that are more specific. There's so many, I should start to keep track because they're sometimes really fascinating. With one person, it was draw a comic book hero, like create one, and decide what superpowers or special powers or characteristics that that person had. And as it unfolded and the instructions came through, it was because these are abilities and skills that you have access to, and use it essentially like a persona for you to manifest what they wanted in their life. What I didn't know at the time is not only did they like to draw, but they were literally in the process of creating a comic book. Blew me away. And that's what happens a lot of times with the recommendations, is that they are so specific. So specific. Very much like, you know, if somebody were to put you on a car lot and give you a key, it's not going to open all the cars. And I believe that that's one of the reasons why things like affirmations, intentions, journaling, you know, some of the mindfulness practices that we read about or hear about don't always work and connect for us. It's because, yes, they are a key. They just don't happen to be your key. Or it needs to be tweaked in such a way that your key will work. So again, if you are jumping on and I can't see you, say hello. Let me know you're here. Let me know where you're joining from. And if you've got questions or things that you want to know about, and they can be global or they can be pretty specific. Sometimes people will ask for just a general message. Other times, again, it may be more specific. Sometimes it's about a pet. I do work with pets as well, which is, I know, a blessing for me when it comes to my pets, because sometimes you don't know what's best for them since they can't tell you. Sometimes you know something's wrong, but you don't know what's the best way to respond. And that can be, well, being able to connect and receive information from my guides can be so beneficial because it really helps to bring my stress level down. I can make decisions much easier and without as much aggravation or stress. And since obviously the time I chose to pop on is not the most ideal at the moment, I'm going to wrap up here. But if you see this as a replay and want to join in, post your questions, post your comments, and I will respond. And look for me in the future. I'll talk to you later. Bye.